I'm Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base. Just as they score the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is gonna be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back and throw. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them away from their faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays there, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
long drive to left field. Way back. Yes, it's hit back. Home run.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are gonna win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, on a cold and rainy Monday morning here in the upstate of South Carolina. We welcome you to today's edition of the Dan Scott program. I am Dan Scott. Good to have you with us. And over the course of the next hour, we've got a bunch of stuff to get to, largely centering on right here on Furman University's campus. It was a busy and tremendous weekend for this university from an athletic standpoint, and we're going to be delving into as much of it as we can over the course of the next hour. Our goal here, if your day is off to a good start, we'll try not to mess it up. If it's not, maybe we can provide you with a little bit of a lift, and as always, we'll try to learn something we did not know before the end of the broadcast, and that usually starts right here. We've got a busy show lined up for you today. We're going to clear up a little confusion surrounding the tiebreaker scenarios in the Southern Conference. And folks, it can't get any more clear than what I'm going to show you, an actual cut and paste from an email sent by the conference office this morning. That is something that is on the horizon perhaps this Saturday at the end of the regular season for Southern Conference football, and it could have a direct impact on the Furman Paladins and their playoff hopes. So we're going to delve into that pretty significantly coming up here in just a bit. How about Bob Ritchie's basketball team? While we were, the football crew was in Lexington, Virginia on Friday night, we were all glued to Bryant Lambert's call over the internet of the final moments of Furman's upset win on the road at last year's Final Four participant, the Loyola Ramblers in Chicago. And it was Clay Mounce's dunk with 1.6 seconds to go off a great feed from Matt Rafferty that provided the winning points, and a big, big win for Bob Ritchie. You're going to see the final sequence and hear Bryant Lambert's call as it has been synced to that video by Caleb Furrow, our very fine video services director here. If I couldn't be there because of football, I am so happy that Bryant Lambert got a chance to make this call, and he did a phenomenal job on it, as you will hear coming up in just a moment. Don Clardy will be with us as we will continue our look at the 1988 championship team's regular season week by week, and get ready for that visit with him. Also get his thoughts on where this current team is sitting after the win over VMI. And, by the way, how about another soccer championship for Doug Allison's club? I believe his 14th as a head coach here at Furman. A 3-0 win over Greensboro in the championship game in Johnson City yesterday, and now they await the release of the bracket to see where they are going dancing. We have the women's cross-country team that has advanced to the NCAAs. Individually, a member of the men's cross-country team has advanced to the NCAAs. We have volleyball's Southern Conference tournament starting this week, and to that end, Michelle Young, the head coach, is going to be with us on this week's edition of Furman Sports Weekly that we'll be recording right after this. It is going to be a busy day, and on top of all of that, after this show, and then after we record Furman Sports Weekly, going to be recording a new episode of the All Den podcast with head coach Bob Ritchie. I believe it'll be episode 24 of that podcast. So looking forward to getting that done as well. So a busy morning into the afternoon here, and we'll try to keep you up to date on everything that is going on. Now, let's kind of start a little bit in reverse before we get to the football tiebreakers, and we'll do that coming up in just a bit. But I do want to give you an opportunity to take a look and listen to Bryant Lambert's call of the final sequence of events with Furman and Loyola. Furman had taken a big first-half lead. They'd gone on, I believe, a 20-0 run, and then fell behind by double digits in the second half. But as the second half wore on and as we got down the stretch, things started to come together. And Matt Rafferty, who was playing in front of at least 70 friends and family members, as his home in Hinsdale, Illinois, is right down the road from Chicago, had a big close to that basketball game and helped not only at one juncture he scored, I believe it was 7 straight points down the stretch, and then as you'll see, get the assist on the game winner from Clay Mounts. So here is a look and a listen with Bryant Lambert's call attached to the video of the final sequence in Furman's victory over Loyola Chicago back on Friday night. Check it out.
No good, and the Paladins have won at Chicago, 60-58. Jordan Lyons to Clay Mounts, slams it home. Do you believe it? Coach Bob Ritchie explodes off the bench, and the Paladins have come to the Windy City. Your final score, Furman 60, Loyola 58. Can you believe it?
I'm going to let this roll from the beginning. Why it started, where it started from, I don't know, but here it is from the beginning.
Trying to go down low, had Mount. Oh, Furman could have got an offensive foul, not there. Rafferty, 5 seconds. Now 4. Backdoor to Mount. Slams it home with 1.6 seconds remaining. And the Paladins take a 60-58 lead. Got to defend. 1.6. Custer at midcourt. Half-court heave is up. No good. And the Paladins have won at Chicago, 60-58. Jordan Lyons to Clay Mounts, slams it home. Do you believe it? Coach Bob Ritchie explodes off the bench, and the Paladins have come to the Windy City. Your final score, Furman 60, Loyola 58. Can you believe it?
The one thing you did not hear there as that went on before he went to a break, coming off of the end of the television broadcasts right before we signed off on Tuesday of last week, I told Bryant, no pressure, go get a win. And right after that sequence of events, before he went to commercial break with all the bedlam going on, he said, Dan Scott, you wanted to win. Dan Scott, you got to win. So, hey, I was there in spirit. I'll take it. Great call by Bryant. Great moment for Bob Ritchie's club. 2-0. Coming home now for 2 games this week. Gardner-Webb tomorrow night and North Greenville on Thursday. And then Saturday will be on the road at Villanova, the defending national champs. And we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit as well. It is 10 minutes after the hour. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back from that break with Don Clardy and get his thoughts on the win Saturday and also looking at the 88 National Championship team, continuing our week-by-week look. And then after we're finished with Don, we're going to delve headlong into the tiebreaker scenarios after Furman's 49-13 win over VMI this week and the way everything else played out. The table is set, perhaps, for the Paladins, with some help, to get the automatic bid into the playoffs and take any questioning out of the hands of the committee come next Sunday. We'll do all of that and more when we return. The show, as always, though, is presented each and every day by Carolina Creative. My good friend Randy Looper and the folks at Carolina Creative do such phenomenal work, not just for my business, but for many, many businesses around the upstate. Not just simply brilliant. Carolina Creative, you're going to hear a lot more about them in this commercial break coming up. Dan Scott Show returns in just a moment. Hey, everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show.
If you're looking for the perfect frame for that special photo or painting, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca can deliver for you. Family owned for nearly 4 decades, Trevor and the folks at Custom Corners Frame Shop pride themselves on quality, presentation, and professionalism. They offer picture framing for every budget, and every job is custom. Custom Corners Frame Shop also sells work from local artists as well as locally themed gifts. For more information, visit them at 289 Market Street in Seneca. Call 864-882-7736 or find them on Facebook, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca.
Imagine a university. A university where your passion for protecting local water sources is encouraged. And now, your work not only benefits your career, but the health of those in your community and around the world. This is Furman. This is the Furman Advantage.
Dan Scott here for the Atlanta Bread Company. What do I like about Atlanta Bread? Well, too much to mention in a short commercial, but here are a few things. Bread baked daily fresh on site, a tremendous selection of soup, sandwiches, and salads, seasonal special additions to the menu, delicious hot coffee, and a bevy of other drink options. And yeah, can't forget about the baked sweet goodies. Dine in or carry out, and when you have the Atlanta Bread Company app, you can order and pay online, then breeze past the lines to the pickup counter to get your food. Experience it for yourself. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville.
When you go in search of a fence company, what's your criteria? Experience? Trust? A company that gets it right the first time and stands behind its work? Then your search is over. Faulkner Fence has been Greenville's fence company for more than 40 years. Ed Faulkner started the business, and now son Todd continues the tradition of excellence. So regardless of your fencing needs, commercial, industrial, or residential, trust the company that Greenville has trusted for over 4 decades. Faulkner Fence, 864-271-4626, or online at FaulknerFenceCompany.com.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
All right, welcome back as we continue here on this Monday edition of the program. I'm Dan Scott. Good to have you with us. Mentioned it is a kind of a gloomy Monday weather-wise, but if you're a Furman athletics fan, man, what a fantastic weekend we had, and setting up for a big week coming at the very least here on campus and beyond. Looking forward to talking about it all. And again, coming up a little bit later on in the show, we're going to dive headfirst into all of the tiebreakers that are going on, or the tiebreaker possibilities, rather, that are going on when we get to that point in the program. But first, we're going to head to the celebrity guest line right now and welcome in Don Clardy. He was a member of the '88 National Championship team, and as always, we are kind of going week by week through that season and getting Don's thoughts on it, as well as this current edition of the Paladins as well. Don, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It was a great weekend for the Paladins. Amazing victory for the basketball team, in addition to a dominating victory for the football team. I know they were, were they also in the finals of soccer? Did they win that game against UNC Greensboro?
Did indeed win the soccer championship 3-0 and are going to the NCAAs. So, yeah.
So you know you're a Paladin fan or grad if you're walking around with a big smile on your face on this gloomy, rainy day, and I'm certainly doing that.
I know you didn't get a chance to keep up with everything that went on at VMI as things happened, but just kind of in general Don, one of the things that we've noticed with this team, which is going to come into play this weekend, which I'll get to in just a little bit, but this defense of Chad Staggs is playing better and better seemingly every week now.
Yeah, and I think you saw that pattern last year too. Comes with winning to some extent, but obviously I think he's a really strong defensive coordinator, and both years, they have just gotten better as the year goes on. So we hope that continues right down to the finish of this season, and hopefully they can find a way to win the game at Mercer and sneak into the playoffs.
Well, with the tiebreaker scenario coming up, if things break their way, there won't be any sneaking in. They can actually still earn the auto bid, and we're going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But from the 1988 standpoint, what are we looking at this week? Regular season's winding down, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we were going to talk about the last two games of the season since our season here is winding down as well. So the second to last game of the season, we took a road trip up to East Tennessee State, the Mini Dome, which they no longer play in, but which they played in for a number of years. Had the game there and then came back home for the final game of the season for what actually was the conference championship against the Citadel.
Well, considering that our regular season still has another week to go and we've got some playoffs to go, we can either do two today or we can do one now and one next week and just kind of keep this thing moving on a little bit. It's kind of up to you however you want to handle it.
Yeah, you just let me know. We can talk about ETSU, and then I'm fine to do it however you choose to do it. I just want to make sure we're able to fit the playoffs into our discussion as we wrap this up throughout the season.
Unless we run out of Mondays, we should be in good shape to keep taking them one at a time. Plus, I'm going to hold you to the fact that after your injury, you've promised to come back in the studio. So
I can. If we could just get a little bit of a sunny day and some nice weather, we'll do that.
All right, go. So let's focus on the ETSU. First of all, what was playing in the Mini Dome like? Unfortunately, I never got to see a game in the Mini Dome. I talked to a lot of people who were there. They did not care for it very much at all.
Right. Well, that place, to me was kind of special because both myself and Frankie DeBus, we grew up in Greenville, Tennessee, which was 30 minutes away from there. So the Mini Dome was something we saw games in, different things and events in growing up. So that was kind of one of those big deals to actually go back home, really, and play in the Mini Dome. We had played on it once in high school in like a playoff game that we had, but just knowing that family and friends were going to make that 30-minute road trip up. So we had a ton of support at that game. As far as the actuality of playing in the Mini Dome, it was not great because it was AstroTurf, obviously. It was a dome. But their AstroTurf basically consisted of a layer of concrete with a little bit of carpet on top of it. So it was pretty tough when you would go down. There was not a soft landing like you would see at App State, Western Carolina. Some of the other places we played in AstroTurf, much softer landing. Also, they didn't build a crown into the middle of the field like almost all football fields have. So as a wide receiver, think about running an out route or any kind of route, and just the ball comes at a totally different angle because all of a sudden you're totally flat on that field when you're used to doing everything crown in the middle, kind of going downhill to the outside. So big adjustment from that perspective too.
What about the atmosphere? How many fans did it hold, and did it seem like it maybe was there were more people in there than it did hold because of acoustics? I mean, was it a loud place?
When they filled it up, they really filled it up back in those days more for basketball. Those were the times when they had top 10, top 15 basketball teams for a few years. So they put more people in there for basketball games. One of my other good friends that I played high school basketball with, Marty Story, was on those teams. and they would fill it up, and it would get loud. But their football teams didn't have as much success in those years, so we didn't see a lot of times where the stadium was really filled up for football.
Continuing to visit with Don Clardy, as we do every Monday, our 1988 Flashback, continuing the celebration of the championship season of that year for the Furman Paladins. So let's get into that game a little bit. How did that one play out?
Yeah, so it started out really solid, really strong for us. We scored touchdowns on our first two possessions, so we might have gotten a little bit overconfident after that and felt like we were just going to kind of roll through them. But then we got kind of sluggish and things slowed down a bit. An interesting thing happened in this game that I had no memory of until I went back and watched the Satterfield shows. They actually did 2 fumble-rooski plays in that game. One was on a punt, and they did very effectively. They ended up running it, the fumble-rooski, and getting about a 50-yard play. And then later in the game, they tried to do it off of an offensive set, and they didn't have any success with it, but had no memory of that happening. But anyway, I think at halftime we were still up 14-0. Came out in the second half, and they actually scored a touchdown. So all of a sudden, we're in the third quarter, and we're only up 14-7. So it got a little nerve-wracking there, but everybody just settled down. Offense did what it had been doing, very balanced attack. I think we had over 400 yards, and it was literally almost 50% running the ball, 50% passing the ball. The defense continued to do what they do, held ETSU down pretty effectively, although ETSU did go on to score one more time. We ended up kind of pulling it out from there and stretching it to a 31-14 victory by the end of the game.
So just kind of continuing the pattern, a little hiccup here and there, but methodical, dominating, and primarily dominating defensive victory. Although 400 yards of offense, especially in those days, was really nothing to sneeze at.
No, and it's good, again, as particularly as our quarterback, Frankie DeBus, continued to get comfortable in his first year as starting, to see him, we ran a lot of option. We ran a lot of power running game. John Bagwell, again, getting back into the mix from being injured the first half of the season, had another big game where I think he caught a number of passes, had a couple of touchdown runs. Dwight Sterling, Bobby Doherty, just seeing the offense work well. Our tight ends were catching passes, really just kind of using everybody out there. Which is, as you know, that's how you want your offense working, especially as you get down toward the end of the season, toward playoff time.
Continuing to visit with Don Clardy as we take a look back at the 1988 championship season going week by week. And again, for those of you who may not be have been following this on a weekly basis with us, one of the really cool things is Don actually had saved all of the old Jimmy Satterfield television shows from that season, so he's able to go back and watch those shows to help prepare for this game. What was Coach Satterfield saying after the 31-14 win at ETSU?
He really wanted, I think, to clean some things up. We got a little sloppy in that game on both sides of the ball, so there was definitely a desire to clean some things up. But immediately, all attention was turned to the Citadel, not only because they're a huge rival of ours, but also because we knew the next week was for the conference championship, and Citadel actually had just beaten Marshall to put us in the position to actually win that Southern Conference championship. So we knew, and he knew, it was going to be a huge test. They had a good offense. And I think just turning the attention to the excitement around getting to play Citadel at our place for the conference championship, which we hadn't had that conference championship for the last 2 years. So I think it quickly turned to that.
Good stuff. Let's talk about some more good stuff. Tell people what's going on at Northwestern Mutual and how you can help them financially.
Yeah, we've talked in our past calls about things I do related to saving, investing. Another big part of what we do as part of our overall comprehensive planning strategy is really risk management. So, sometimes the train comes off the tracks. What happens? Making sure you protect yourself in the event of an unexpected death, an unexpected illness or injury that would keep you out of work, or, in the world we live in now, medical technology is keeping people alive longer, but the quality of life is not always what it could be. So long-term care needs. So that's part of the analysis we do. We take a look and make sure that if one of these unexpected events happens, that people have the protection they need so that their family can still be financially secure.
Sounds good. If they want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Don.Clardy@nm.com, northwesternmutual.com, or direct line here, 864-679-3849.
Sounds like a plan. Don, thank you so much, my friend. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, Dan. Always good to talk to you.
That is Don Clardy from Northwestern Mutual and a member of the 88 National Championship team here at Furman. We'll take a break and come back. And now, on the other side, we're going to dive into Furman's win over VMI, 49-13, and get into the tiebreaker scenarios for the automatic qualifier bid to the playoffs that could come into play this week. All of that and much more as we continue on this edition of the Dan Scott Show right after this.
For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant more life-changing wishes. Visit Make-A-Wish online now. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hall's Chop House in downtown Greenville is the Greenville Steakhouse. Why? Well, it starts with the Allen Brothers Prime Steaks out of Chicago. The rest of the menu falls into place there. But it really goes beyond that. It's their level of service, their commitment to that service. The place is packed every night, and yet Billy and his staff have a way of making you and your table feel like you're the most important table in the place. They have lunch on Fridays and Saturdays, brunch on Sundays, live music every time the doors are open. The Greenville Steakhouse is Hall's Chop House, Main Street, downtown. Tell them you heard about them on the Dan Scott Show.
Mayhem is everywhere.
I'm a fight in the stadium parking lot. One of us was rooting for the home team. The other was also rooting for the home team, but misheard the first one. Them's fighting words. Now we're working this out all over your car. And this could last a while because we're evenly matched. We're both big. We're both better at punching stuff than doing puzzles. We both think Italy's in South America. We both peaked somewhere between 8th grade and the second time we took 8th grade. Oh, and while you were gone, we've both been rammed repeatedly by the other into your car. Already scarred faces will heal, but if you've got cut rate insurance, you could be living with these dents. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem. Like me.
Are you in good hands?
In Easley, it's Ray Williams, Allstate, 864-859-7504.
Looking for a great car, but your credit needs work? Premier Automotivations is a professional referral service motivated to help you drive a car you love while rebuilding your credit. Late model cars of all kinds. Premier Automotivations can get you on the road and your credit on the road to recovery today. Serving all of upstate South Carolina, it's Premier Automotivations. Call Sherry today at 864-722-3785 or email cricketgravely@gmail.com.
Go the Distance Performance Coaching offers individualized coaching for distance runners of all ability levels, beginner to seasoned runner, and exists to help you achieve your running goals. All training plans are custom built, tailor-made just for you based on your experience, current fitness level, injury history, and goals. You're going to receive expert coaching from Hall of Fame runner Brock Bailey, and Coach Brock is ready to help you go the distance. You can find out everything you need to know about Go the Distance Performance Coaching and Brock Brock Bailey at the website gocoach.run. Gocoach.run. That's Go the Distance Performance Coaching. All right, welcome back to the program. I am Dan Scott, your host. Good to have you with us as we roll on through this this Monday morning. Just a reminder about our partnership with Make-A-Wish South Carolina. Just so excited to be involved with these folks and the great work that they do to help bring a little joy to the lives of critically ill children. And in doing so, as the data has shown, actually aiding in their recovery. There is a medicinal quality to having these wishes granted. They're able to grant one wish about every 48 hours, and the only thing that's keeping them from doing more than that is money. They need financial help. So you see the website, sc.wish.org/donate. Go to that site. You can make a cash donation. You can donate air miles, which can help defray costs. You can do other things like if you have a car you're going to sell, you could donate that and let them sell it and reap the benefits from it. So many different ways you can help and help us partner with Make-A-Wish South Carolina and help more wishes come true for these kids. It is a fantastic group to be associated with. I'm so blessed and honored to be in partnership with Make-A-Wish South Carolina. All right, so Furman's 49-13 win over VMI paired with a pair of things that had to happen in the league this week, which was Samford losing to the Citadel, and inexplicably that happened, and Wofford beating Western Carolina and coming back from a 20-7 deficit to win that game, has set up a scenario this weekend where the Paladins have a chance to win the automatic bid to the playoffs. Now, here's what has to happen, and this is every scenario out there, and there have been some different things on the internet since Saturday, but this is not only direct from the Southern Conference office, it literally is direct from the Southern Conference office because I cut and pasted it from the email I got from Phil Perry this morning. So this should answer any questions. First of all, ETSU can shut all of this down. If they win, they're the automatic qualifier and the outright champs because they will finish at 7-1 and everybody else has at least 2 losses. If ETSU and Furman both lose, then ETSU and Wofford would finish tied at 6-2, and Wofford would get the automatic bid because they beat ETSU head-to-head. This is where it gets interesting, and this is where Furman hopes it comes down to. If ETSU loses to Samford, and you have to hope that Samford has a lot of pride, they have nothing else to play for, but you have to hope they come in and give their best effort. If Samford beats ETSU and Furman wins, then you have a 3-way tie at 6-2 between Furman, ETSU, and Wofford. All 3 of those teams went 1-1 against each other. The next team in the standings would be Samford at 5-3. All 3 lost to Samford. You go down the line, all 3 teams beat the remaining teams in the league. So then the tiebreaker goes to fewest points allowed in conference play, not between the 3 teams, but in conference play overall. Furman right now would win that tiebreaker if they are able to keep to win the game at Mercer, number 1, and keep Mercer to 16 points or less. Right now, they are 16 points clear of Wofford, as it says here. If Furman wins and ETSU loses, creating the tie, but Furman gives up more than 16 points, then Wofford would win the automatic bid. But if Furman allows 16 points or fewer, the Paladins get the automatic bid. So it's really interesting. From an ETSU standpoint, they cannot win a tiebreaker. They have basically led this conference from week one, did get beat by Wofford to drop into a tie for a week or so, but then Wofford lost again to Samford. So ETSU has been in first place basically wire to wire, but it's just very interesting that they do not win any of the tiebreaker scenarios because of who they lost to or the amount of points they have given up. So for Furman to win this thing, and this is to try to make it as easy as possible, Furman has to beat Mercer, Samford has to beat ETSU, and in Furman's win over Mercer, the Paladins have to give up 16 points or less. Anything above 16 points, and the Paladins do not win the automatic bid in that scenario. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how all of this plays out. And as we look at the schedule for this coming week, the Samford ETSU game is a 1 o'clock start. Furman and Mercer, a 3 p.m. start. So we're going to know the outcome of that Samford ETSU game before our game is done. We will know whether we're still playing for that automatic bid or whether we're just trying to get a win and hope that the committee will be kind and put the Paladins in. But we will know before our game is done what we are playing for specifically as we head down the final moments of that game. It's going to be a fun Saturday. We talked about how, on one hand, how unfortunate it is that you have 3 teams that are playing their play-up games, their money games this week, and you don't have a full conference schedule this week with the conference championship still on the line. But the Southern Conference gets lucky because the teams that are involved, 2 of the 3 teams that are involved in a possible championship are still playing this week. And so you'll get a little bit of clock watching. I also find it interesting, if you go back to the last time that Furman won a share of the championship in 2013, remember, beat Wofford here at Paladin Stadium, and before the postgame was over, they had tacked that 2013 championship, which we shared, on the building here off to the left down in the end zone, the locker room building. But we still did not know if Furman would get the automatic qualifier bid or not. That came down to Samford, who was out of the running, having to win that game that week. And lo and behold, it literally came down to the final play of the game, and Samford threw a touchdown pass on the final play of the game to get the win and give Furman the automatic bid. So it's kind of intriguing that in this tiebreaker scenario here 5 years later, that, again, the Paladins are going to be beholden somewhat to Samford. If Furman takes care of business, they are going to need Samford to do the same thing at ETSU. The only difference is this time it'll be the Samford game that will be completed first up in Johnson City, and we'll be playing here after that, or playing down at Mercer, I should say, after that game is done. But it's just kind of interesting. 5 years later, you still have Furman's fate in at least a portion of it tied to how Samford does in the final game of the regular season. And that was the last time that the Paladins won a share of the championship in 2013. So that's the scenario. Again, the Paladins have to win. If you don't win, it doesn't matter. If ETSU beats Samford, nothing matters. But if Samford beats ETSU and Furman beats Mercer, Furman gets the automatic bid if they allow 16 or fewer points to Bobby Lamb's team. And how intriguing will, on top of everything else, is it going to be to go into a situation where you're facing your former head coach with a chance to win the conference championship on the line. Something to think about. It is 10:42. Let's step aside and take a break, and we'll come back, talk a little bit about the soccer champs and some of the other things that took place over the weekend as the Dan Scott Show continues right after this break. When you're looking for the home of a lifetime, you need a realtor you can trust. With more than 27 years experience selling real estate, Gel Sartain is the choice to help the discriminating buyer find the home of their dreams. Licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia, Gel specializes in homes on beautiful lakes Hartwell and Kiwi, as well as the surrounding areas, and has a wealth of experience working with people with technical backgrounds. Now is the time to buy, sell, and invest in real estate in the Clemson-Seneca area. Let Gail help you realize that dream today. Call her at 404-317-3171. That's Gail Sartain, a member of the National Association of Realtors.
We're all trying to find our way, forge a path, blaze a trail. The work is hard and the work is personal, but you can't do it alone. At Furman, we're committed to giving you an advantage, the Furman Advantage. We know that graduates who are emotionally supported and who have deep learning experiences in college are 3 times as likely to be engaged at work and thriving in life. At Furman, all students are guaranteed 4 years of rigorous classroom education integrated with high-impact research, internships, study away, and a community of support every step of the way. This is the Furman Advantage.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott. You know, I've been telling you for some time now that I switched the protection of my home and family to Security Complete. I can tell you that I've been ecstatic with the results. Locally owned with more than 40 years experience in the industry, Security Complete uses nothing but the latest technology, which equals low overhead, which equals greater savings to the customer. Fully automated systems with monitoring rates much lower than the competition. Security Complete gives you all this and does not require a contract of any length. Find out more by calling 864-546-0630 or find them on Facebook and Twitter. Security Complete, my first line of defense. Make them yours today.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show. All right. Welcome back. We continue here on this week's edition of the Dan Scott Show. I mentioned some other things to be looking forward to on Furman's social media later today, as a matter of fact. We'll be recording this week's edition of Furman Sports Weekly with volleyball coach Michelle Young as they've wrapped up their regular season and heading into the Southern Conference Tournament this week. We'll be talking with her. And that will be released about 5 o'clock or so on Furman's Facebook page. And then after that, recording episode 24 of the All Den podcast with head coach Bob Ritchie. And got a big week coming up after opening 2-0 last week, including the win at Loyola. We'll be talking about that, of course, as well as the upcoming wins, or hopefully upcoming wins, but upcoming games with Gardner-Webb, with North Greenville, and with Villanova. All of that is coming up and will be released a little bit later on today via Furman's social media. Hey, how about Doug Allison's soccer team? There you go. There is the team picture after the championship game on Sunday, in which they defeated Greensboro 3-0 and head to the NCAA tournament. This is the 14th, I believe I read, Southern Conference championship for the men's soccer team. And they'll find out their first-round destination at 1 o'clock today when the field is announced at ncaa.com. Paladins opened the scoring in the early portion, actually at the 21st minute. Emery May scored the first of his 2 goals on the game, and that got everything off and running. And then Connor Hubbard got a goal as well later in the game, and they won it by a score of 3-0. On the all-tournament team, Cameron Robertson, Rocky Guerra, Lawrence Wyke, all named to the all-tournament team. Lawrence Wyke was named the outstanding player in the tournament, and the Pinnacle Award for the highest cumulative GPA among eligible student-athletes in the winning team went to Sean Langan from Furman as well. So that is your look at your champions. We'll find out later today how or where Doug Allison's team will be playing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But congratulations. Just a great effort by that team. Doug is such a phenomenal person, and very, very happy for him and this soccer team after that win yesterday. 3-0 too. I mean, in soccer terms, that's a blowout. So nice job by Doug's team. Elsewhere over the weekend, not much went off the way of going off the rails from a college football standpoint, at least on the field. Alabama and Clemson did what Alabama and Clemson have been doing. Nothing really changed there. The biggest news in college football has to do with the firing of Bobby Petrino. And I thought it was very interesting. There's a snapshot on Twitter of the inside Cardinal football, or whatever they call it, with Bobby Petrino, him sitting on screen talking to the host. You know, they always record those things after the games or early on Sunday morning. Well, that thing is airing, and on the scroll at the bottom, while Bobby Petrino's on screen on his show, the scroll says Louisville has fired head coach Bobby Petrino, which was kind of ironic and a little bit funny. So Louisville's going to have to pay him a buyout of $14 million, and there's a lot of speculation that their number one target is going to be former Cardinal quarterback Jeff Brom, who's the head coach up in Purdue, who's doing a fantastic job there. If they want to get him, not only do they have to pay the $14 million buyout of Petrino, they'd have to pay a $4 million buyout of Brom's contract, and then speculation is that he would probably make $4 to $5 million, and then his assistants would probably make total $2 to $3 million. So this is going to be an expensive expenditure for Louisville, whether it's Brom they end up with or not, but many people close to the Louisville program believe that's who they're going to go after. But regardless, you know, they have decided to bite the bullet on Bobby Petrino, and you know, you can say a lot about him, and unfortunately, not a lot of it is good, and it doesn't necessarily even lend itself to all football talk. I mean, there's a lot of things about that guy that have been publicized, of his behavior, the way he treats people, that just hasn't been good. But you know, the way it works a lot of times, if you win, people are willing to overlook those character flaws. But when you are a jerk and your team is giving up 50 and 60 and in some cases 70 points a week on a team that you said would be a better team than the one that had Lamar Jackson on it a year ago, then this is what you end up getting. Louisville has just been getting embarrassed on a week-by-week basis, and apparently they have had enough there. So a tumultuous period in the Louisville athletic department continues, and now they're looking for a new football coach on top of everything else. So that is really the biggest headline from the weekend. Tomorrow, the College Football Playoff Committee will release its latest rankings. Don't expect there to be anything different in the top four. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Michigan will be that top four, and then we'll see if there's any movement below them. And then all eyes are kind of put towards what's coming up this weekend and next weekend in the college football world, because at the FCS level, you got 1 week of regulation play to go. That's this weekend upcoming. The following weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, is the opening round of the playoffs. At the FBS level, the Thanksgiving weekend is the close of the regular season. All of the big rivalry games, Clemson, South Carolina, Mississippi State, all of those, Ohio State, Michigan, most of those big rivalry games of that weekend. And then the following week is the conference championship game. So we're getting down to the end here, and we're going to get a lot of questions answered at a lot of different levels in these next 2 weeks. So we'll do our best to keep up with it all here and look forward to talking about it and to seeing what goes on. Tom Van Hoy should be in studio with us tomorrow. We'll kick around some more of the SoCon scenarios, get his thoughts on where this Furman team is right now. I'll tell you what, we haven't talked much about the VMI game itself, but the defense continues to play phenomenally well and seemingly getting better and better each week, and the offense just did what they should have done. When you look statistically at what VMI allows in both the running game and the passing game, Paladins did what they should have done. Devin Wynn ran for over 100 yards. Harris Roberts threw for well over 200 yards. They had 500-plus yards, almost 600 yards, in fact, of total offense in that game, and rolled on to a 49-13 win. Now 5-4 overall and 5-2 in league play. So among everything else that will happen with a win this Saturday at Mercer, if that takes place, it'll be back-to-back winning seasons for the Paladins, which hasn't happened around here in a long, long time. With all of that, we're going to put a wrap on things because I've got to get ready for Furman Sports Weekly. Be recording that at 11:30 with volleyball coach Michelle Young, and after that, get set for the All Den podcast with head coach Bob Ritchie. Both of those will be released on Furman social media later on today. Listen, have yourself a great rest of your Monday, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. Go out and make a positive difference in somebody else's life. And until tomorrow, I'm Dan Scott, saying God bless you. So long, everybody.